the students who are here with us today. Thank you for taking out time, and I really thank Wise Owl for honoring my book. Rachna ji, Harmeet ji, I'm really indebted. And coming to Chandigarh, today he said I did rate the Himalayas, so even before I begin my conversation with you all today, I want to pay tribute to Hardy Sir, very lovingly called Hardy Sir. He is Mr. Sanjay Sharma. He is part of my book. If you flip through the pages, there is a special picture dedicated with him in the book. And I was on the move from Delhi to Chandigarh, and I was on road. And I got the news that he's no more with us. He passed away. So it's a heavy day for me today emotionally, because somebody who had mentored me, somebody who had given me the direction to the right set of wheels which I loved, because I was continuously being targeted on sitting on the wheelchair, and probably a set of wheels which people think are limiting, people think that are related to disability. People always call you wheelchair bound, but it was Hardy sir and his efforts and his support which made me choose the wheels of motorsports. And thanks to him, I was able to prove my abilities beyond disabilities. So God bless his soul, and remembering him with a lot of love, because it was in this route that I had met him for the first time. When I left from Delhi, I came to Chandigarh, and then I left for Shimla to do the raid, the Himalaya. So yeah, fond memories for him. And talking about my life, Sir just introduced saying that at the age of 5, I got my first tumor. And at the age of 5, um, I'm born to a set of parents where I'm the second child. I have an older brother. And I was never treated as, there was no difference between a girl and a boy. But at the age of 5 years, when my parents noticed that I'm not playing outside that much, I'm not kicking around the football, and I'm not fighting with my brother for the cricket bat or the cycle. We only had one cycle, little cycle, tricycle in the house. And suddenly a neighbor lady, one of the days my father got back, and he says, every day we are running around and we are looking for Deepa, because she doesn't come back. She's either found on a swing or playing, an outdoor soul, but I don't see her out anymore. Why you are not shouting Deepa Deepa when I come back? And that's when the neighbor lady commented, and she said, oh, she started behaving like a girl now. She's playing with dolls and color pencils and kitchen sets. That triggered a thought in my parents' mind, especially my father. He came in and he said, there is something wrong with this child. And even in 1975, they took me to a child psychologist. They were so conscious about mental well being. And soon they realized that it is not any emotional or any pressure or behaving in a certain way. It is mostly physical, that she is finding weakness in her legs. Treatment took a long time. Papa had to go to many cities, finally settled in Pune Command Hospital. With my admission there, Papa took a compassionate posting. And that thing was for almost 4 years, in and out of hospital. Me mostly being in the hospital, continuously deteriorating. And in the era when we did not have any, what you say, iPad, PlayStation, video games, mobile phone games, there were no cable TVs. So there was basically nothing for a child to get entertained with. So what do you think I, as a 5.5, 6-year-old, just tied in a lot of tubes and continuously lying without moving, without any power in the lower limbs, in the hospital. How did I kill my time? So if you say reading, ABCD also used to start um, when we were, I think, 6 years old. Abhi to bahut jaldi ho gaya. Abhi to 2-year-olds start going to pre-prep and then prep and then lower KG, upper KG. This like by the time the child comes to first class, he's already done 4 years of education. But in our days, it wasn't that. I was just beginning to learn ABCD, so reading a book was a little difficult for me. What else do children suggest that I could be doing? I used to lie down because I was very weak, feeble. Any more suggestions? Students, I'm looking at students more.
Stare out the window.
Okay, maybe that is one thing. What else?
Looking at the stars.
No, I don't even remember looking out of a window during that time. A bed was probably not next to a window as a child.
You could have been listening to stories.
That's what I was waiting for. What's your name? I was introduced to the world of stories. My father got a lot of storybooks and he kept it on my bedside, and he told and requested the nurse on duty, the cleaning karamcharis on duty, that either you read out a book or you narrate a story to her, because that will keep her entertained. Whether it was my nani visiting, dadi visiting, or a guest or a doctor or a nurse, I was surrounded by the world. I was surrounded by the world of stories. And hello. Story, I heard hundreds of them in the 2.5, 3 years that I was continuously admitted in the hospital. When you begin a story, books are also stories. They also tell us stories. Everything is fine in the beginning, in most of the stories. Then suddenly a disruption, an obstruction, an obstacle, a challenge comes. After that, what we do? In a storytelling, we find a solution to the challenge, to the disruption. And once the solution is found, how does a story usually end? There's a happy ending. It is mostly as a child when we heard a story and they lived happily ever after. In the worst of time of my life, when a child was tied up in tubes, deteriorating, doctors not able to find out any treatment, I was learning the major lessons of my life. I was learning that whenever there is a challenge, all we need to do is shift to a solution mode, find a solution to find happiness, and a solution always leads you to answers, to leads you to more progress, it leads you to evolution, it leads you to innovation of a better living, a better version of yourself. So one thing that got engraved in my brain was that. Other thing I saw was my parents were continuously striving to find time to accommodate everything. My brother's schooling, my father's office. My father was an army man. My mummy used to carry his uniforms for the evening change. She would pack food. All of us would eat food in the lunchtime, forever making a plan. There was always a timetable, kind of a square timetable how you have for your school. So there was always a chart there, this day what is going to happen, always preparing ahead of time, planning my blood tests, planning my x-rays. A 5.5, 6-year-old girl learned time management. That is the biggest rule of anybody who's successful in their life, is because they have learned to value time. They have learned to value planning ahead of time, making a proper timetable, punctuality, time management. The third thing I learned in that stay as a young child was how everybody was pitching in and helping. So I learned the family values. I learned what was the teamwork. I learned what it was to help each other, what it was to make little sacrifices. My brother could not go for every movie or entertainment, but he understood the situation. So that mutual understanding and bonding of family grew. Once I got operated and I was put in rehabilitation, and I could not wear those calipers, chest braces. I could not, put weight. It would create blisters. It would create prickly. I was very uncomfortable, and that was the time I would cry, and I didn't want to go for my practice sessions for physiotherapy, to weight bearing exercises. And that's when my father told me one thing. He says, Beta, focus on the larger goal. Your larger goal today is to walk again. And when you walk, you will be able to run and you will be able to play games. So to be able to walk, you will have to ignore the discomfort of prickly cuts, blisters, pain. You have to get out of your comfort zone, push your body, mentally become strong, accept these exercises and gain strength. Second lesson I learned was that if today you are willing to stand up for a minute, then tomorrow you can push your body to stand for 2 minutes. Slowly you take 2 steps in the help of a walker and calipers, your body will get ready to take 10 steps after that. In short, I learned to raise my own bar and become a better version of myself each day. An illness which was a taboo in the eyes of society made me a stronger human being as I grew up. A little bit of rebel set in because I had heard how people looked at disability, how people would react to a girl child with disability. But slowly when I walked again, I wanted to prove all those remarks wrong. So, because I had become a solution finding person, instead of taking anything negatively, I would churn it into positivity through my actions. If they said something about me not being able to walk, I would prove them wrong with my fitness by taking part in sports. And initially, when I could not really run around because it took some time for the body to recover, I would take part in co-curricular activities. I would recite poem, I would take part in debate competition, I would just stand and be a part of the group song. Always found alternatives to do things rather than focusing on what I cannot do. And that will always keep you a very happy person as you grow up, young students. I grew up, everything was fine. I got married, I had my daughter, and married to an army officer. Army gives you a lot of opportunity to travel, to outdoors. We have a lot of physical sports, games, we have social integration. It is a world of its own whenever you're moving around an army. I was very happy army wife, contributing to the army welfare duties. My elder daughter born and she learned to walk. When she learned to walk, I kind of revived my childhood through her footsteps. And I said, because my memories were all distorted about not walking, about disability. But one day when the domestic help lady left after completing her chores, I was drying clothes on the rooftop. She left and she did not latch the main gate properly. Our pet dogs chased a cow on the main street, and due to the noise and opening of the main gate, my young little daughter also ran in that direction. She suddenly went onto the road and she got hit by a biker. She had a head injury, and due to the head injury, the left of her body got paralyzed at the age of 14-15 months. I was also married to an army officer, so we rushed her to the biggest army hospital, which was Pune Command Hospital. It was a paralysis, it was a neurological case, and identical officer's family ward, identical neurological ICU ward. It was the same place where I had spent 2.5, 3 years. My child ends up with almost a similar problem of paralysis, and this time even her brain internally had got swelling and bleeding, and ventricles got dilated, and she could also end up being a person with disability and also with intellectual disability. Same situation, the only thing is this time I was the mother, she was the daughter. 20 years had gone by between the two incidents, but the reaction towards a girl in disability was same from the society. What makes us question ourselves in this is, are we really getting educated? Is education really something which only helps us get marks, get degrees and get a job, or it also gives us an emotional quotient, emotional intelligence, a way to percept a different kind of situations with different people in the right manner, because same reactions came. Oh, a girl child, what is she going to do? She's going to be a liability all her life. May Almighty take her away. Why should she even be living in such a body? I said, why the world is not progressing? And it didn't end there. I've struggled very hard with her rehabilitation. I used to take her for physiotherapy. Slowly we realized that her IQ has not got impacted, but her physical abilities are impacted. But I was working very hard with her, and I was alone because my husband was at the Kargil war in the year of 1999. And around that time, I started developing backache because I was handling everything alone. I had one daughter to take for rehabilitation. My younger child was only 3 years old. I had to bend down, pack their bags, lead them to the school, give them a bath, maybe pick them up in my and get her off the school bus. I couldn't do all that. Even while driving a car, my leg was slipping off the accelerator. Then I went to the doctor. This time, MRIs were in place, and with this new technology, it took them only 15 minutes, barely 15 minutes, to tell me that my tumors are back. They're sitting on the spinal cord, they're originating from within the spinal cord this time, and I'm going to get paralyzed if at all I live through the surgery. And if this tumor bursts, and it can spread the infection to the brain and to the rest of the body. With the husband at the war and the fear of death of a husband dying at the war, if I also die, then who's going to look after the children? I chose to get operated immediately. I was taken to RR Hospital, Delhi. I went in alone, and when I was there, I just told the doctors, I said, you just tell me if my husband is alive or not, because I don't know, we have no communication from the war zone. They made me speak to him. It was a conversation on a headphone, and I told him, I said, Bikram, over. They say I will never be able to walk again, over, and that is if I live, over. And from the war zone, my husband's reply came, don't worry about your legs, over. I will carry you in my arms all my life, over. Let us both stay focused on staying alive right now, over. It was a 30-second conversation. But what you say, how you say, when you say, in what way you say, it is the power of good communication that keeps us going. So as a human being, as a friend, as a relative, as a child, as a caregiver, you should always be very conscious of how you communicate. Because communication, the right kind of good communication, is actually a reflection of whether you are educated or you're not educated. Education teaches you a lot of things other than just degrees and your books. And from there, our life started. A mother and daughter in disability. I got operated. I had another surgery because the central fluid leaked. My body went into a coma. And in the summer of 1999, when I woke up after 3 major surgeries, I woke up in a body which is chest below paralyzed. When I say chest below paralyzed, from this level below, I don't feel my body. I have no sensation. I have no torso balance. Between my shoulder blades, I have more than 183 stitches. 7 discs of my vertebral column are chopped to totally clean and reach the tumor. They could not put a titanium plating or a bone cementing, because after a foreign body in your spine, you cannot go into a MRI machine for the follow-up of tumors. On the slightest doubt, they put me on chemo and radiation every 2 to 3 years to keep the tumors away. The body becomes zero, you have to jump start the body all over again. I have spastic paralysis, which means my body stiffens up. Every 5 hours, 8 hours, I have to move my joints passively. Passively means somebody else has to do it for me. I cannot raise both my arms up together because I may fall on my nose because I don't have a torso balance. I have developed a kyphotic deformity due to lack of bone support, which means the curvature of the spine compresses the ribs to pressure the lungs, which only half lungs inflate, half do not inflate because of the paralytic effect. The rib cage compresses the heart and the lungs, so I have to be very conscious about my blood circulation. I have to consciously do deep breathing and keep pulling my back backwards so that there is enough space for the blood to circulate. I don't have a regular body temperature, so in summers in an air conditioned room, when I'm wearing a blazer or I'm wearing a woolen stocking, people laugh at my fashion sense. It is very easy to pass a comment. Even in summers, I wear boots because my ankles don't have support. I have to give support, and they say, "Are winter boots कौन पहनता है गर्मियों में?" It is so easy for somebody to pass that comment. And above all, the biggest challenge that I have is I don't have a bladder or a bowel control. Every drop of water has to be measured. Every morsel of food has to be measured. What I eat, when is it going to come out? I have no sensation, no control. So artificially my stool has to be managed time to time. Every drop of water, if I drink too much and I have not calculated, I can wet my clothes, my diaper can overfill. So what helps me? The art of time management that I had learned. So this is why small values that you learn over a period of time and the solution finding nature. Instead of cribbing about that my body is gone, I have got paralyzed, and I started learning my new body in the new way. But again, a lot of comments came back time and again that what is this woman going to do? So I set myself on a journey called Ability Beyond Disability that you can read in the book as well. But the tiny steps that I took became a huge movement of ability beyond disability. And my dear children, education teaches you to innovate. When I got paralyzed, I said, what can I do from this body? I can write letters, okay? I'm going to write letters to the system for better policies. I can sit down and supervise a kitchen. I'm going to run a garden restaurant to become financially independent, and I did that. First thing, I started a garden restaurant. When people used to say, how is she ever going to feed her children? I fed more than 400 people every day. My husband left the army because people told him, how is he going to roam around with a paralyzed woman? You know, how will they find a house? How will she ever travel? She will never be able to pack the bag. She will never be able to move along with the regiments to remote areas. And because people don't even think of solutions, they go by the stereotype thoughts. Uh, I realized that people are more paralyzed in their mindsets than I was in my body. And my husband, out of concern and hearing these comments again and again, left army without a financial plan. And when he came home, and parallelly I had started running a restaurant, we realized that I was earning 4 times his pension. And still people would say, no, he left army because he had to come and run the restaurant. So I decided I'm going to do something from the body. Same body, which I will do something. And crazy ideas set in. But first and foremost was, like I said, people accuse me for being on a wheelchair. And I want to ask you, my dear students, what is in the center of your tricolor Indian flag? Chakra. How do you say it in English? Why a wheel is there in our flag? What does it symbolize?
Symbolizes the 24 hours of the day, the 24 sports.
And what should we do with those 24 hours? We should keep moving forward. It is about the progress. It is about the movement. The human civilization progressed when the wheel was discovered. What is the national emblem?
The Sarnath Lions.
What is there in the center of that in bottom? When a country's national emblem and national flag has a wheel, then how can you call somebody sitting on a wheel as wheelchair bound or limited? How many of the students are using spectacles? Can you just stand up for a second? Why do you use spectacles? To see better? Sit down. It's not a taboo. Nobody asks you every day, are you blind? Nobody says that. For weak eyes, you are using an assistive aid called spectacles. For weak legs, I use an assistive aid called wheelchair. So how can we, and wheelchair is giving me mobility, it is giving me accessibility, it is making me move from a place A to place B. It is playing the role of my legs. Then how can you call me wheelchair bound? That is a very commonly used term and I have objection to that. I am wheelchair liberated. We have to change the way we look at things. And this is what I set out to do. So I said, okay, I always loved biking. I was a biker in my younger days. I'm going to go back to biking. When I started this idea, everybody says she's gone mad. Chest below paralyzed, she has nothing. She cannot sit on a bike. And that's when we took the initiative of writing letters to manufacturers, to people who were customizing, and I found them. It meant hundreds and thousands of emails. But the idea was not to give up. Finally, I reached out to a company called KRP in Delhi and I said, will you make a customized motorcycle for me? They agreed. But to sit on that and to make a record, to make a statement, I needed permissions. When I sat for permission, I said, there is no driving license for people like us. There is no order of customization for people like us in the Motor Vehicle Act. I had done my education in English honours. I had got a graduation honours degree. That degree was not just to pick up a job, that degree was to able to write. So I wrote my concerns. I took 19 months of battle to get that license, to get that permission, and then what was the result? I made a Limca world record riding a bike. I was on MTV Roadies. And then I did social awareness bike rallies for 4 years. Mr. John Abraham would come, pick me up in his arms, put me on the bike and then ride along with me. To change the perception, I could do that. Then I shifted gears to a vehicle. I wanted to drive. I said, if there is technology available in other countries, why not in India? So I again wrote. Then there was a lot of issues on insurance. I wrote to the insurance companies. Today, if you ask me what am I more proud of, I think I'm more proud of bringing about the change in the policies than actually winning medals. Because when I win medal, it is Deepa Malik winning medal. But when I change the policies now today, thousands of people in disability are driving with a valid license. And I think that's something that I could give back to my country. Then I moved forward, I joined the world of sports, I discovered sports and everybody said, oh my God, she's 36 years old and she's mother of 2, what is she going to play? And finally when I did go to play, I learned swimming first and in 1 hour I did 3 strokes and I had 3 national records and 3 gold medals in my disability category. But sometimes what happens, what you are learning, you may not be successful in that. I was only able to win national medals, but I was not able to go beyond a certain level of progress because my body was heavy, my body was paralyzed. Those who did not have any paralysis in the body and just had amputated legs were also categorized in my category of swimming, no use of legs, because I used to use my arms and not the legs. But overall my body weight was more, my spasm used to stop me, my lack of oxygen intake due to lack of oxygen level in the body, my lungs don't inflate completely. Swimming was not giving me my optimum result. I was working very hard. So what do? You give up sports? No. I adapted to athletics at the age of 40. And at the age of 40, I went to play at the Commonwealth Games, then 2011, the World Championship, and then the other Asian Games. At the age of 46, I went and played at the Rio Paralympics, where I won the first women medal for the country. And everybody said, it's okay, you are done, you know. Wow, you got an Arjun Award, you got a Paralympic medal, you got a Padma Shri. Now it's okay, you're 47, you can retire. But who tells you when to do what? Do you allow others to paint their colors in your dreams and your passions? I always wanted to win the Khel Ratna also, and my work at the sports was still left. Instead of believing others, I believed in myself. I continued to work hard. In 2018, I won 2 more medals for the country, and finally, at the age of 49, I won the Khel Ratna, which has never happened in India before. Excellence is not an act, excellence is a habit that you have to earn, you have to create in yourself by the right practice. Resilience is not a dictionary word. Resilience again is something that you practice every day. You have to keep your mindset positive. You have to always have that feeling of gratitude. When you have the feeling of gratitude, of being able to appreciate what you have, gratitude makes you a positive thinking person. You can only be grateful to something when you see the positive side of it. When you feel that yes, this thing I can appreciate. So the more you appreciate something, that means you are looking at the positive side of things. More you are in gratitude mode, that much more positive you become in life. And a positive thinking mind will always find the right solutions, the right way to live life, and the right way to celebrate a festival called life, because life is the only festival that can be celebrated every day. And this is the message that I give from my life, that किस्मत पे अगर भरोसा है, ईश्वर पे अगर भरोसा है, ईश्वर can be anything. It can be a guru, it can be a Christ, it can be Khuda, it can be whatever superpower you believe in. It is just a way of saying ईश्वर. ईश्वर पे अगर भरोसा है तो जो किस्मत में लिखा है वो पाओगे. ईश्वर पे अगर भरोसा है तो जो किस्मत में लिखा है वो पाओगे. लेकिन अगर खुद पे भरोसा है तो ईश्वर भी वो लिखेगा जो तुम चाहोगे. There was a time when everybody said एक ही घर में माँ भी अपंग है, बेटी भी अपंग है. But today I'm so proud to share that me and Devika, we are the only mother-daughter duo of the world who have played together internationally, nationally, in disability sports and won medals for the country together. Devika has gone on to start an NGO called Wheeling Happiness, where she identifies people at the grassroots with disability, give them assistive aids, give them education, provide them nutrition, protein, medications, diapers, whatever customized need they have. We try to identify beneficiaries, we help them. We also give them guidance how to join the world of sports, the rehabilitation exercises, teach them how to drive. That is something she's been doing, and for that she has won the President's Youth Award. So, you know what I say, that with the right attitude towards life, with the right learning, and with the right way of overcoming your adversities and turning them into opportunities to do something better, by learning new skills. We have celebrated the festival called life. It was very easy for somebody to give up, but we did not, because मुझे मेरी स्कूल की 5वीं क्लास की किताब ने ये सिखा दिया था, वीर तुम बढ़े चलो, धीर तुम बढ़े चलो, सामने पहाड़ हो, सिंह की दहाड़ हो, वीर तुम डरो नहीं, धीर तुम डटो वहीं. If you read your books right from class 1 to class 10th and understand why that syllabus has been curated for you, what are the values you're getting out of it, I think it's going to help you for all your life. That is all I can say to you. And like they say, that it is always better to light a lamp than to curse the dark. And my father used to always say कि तुम्हारा तो नाम ही दीपा है, तो तुम हार कैसे जाओगी? So there's a little poem that I've written dedicated to my father, and it is something like this. आग की ज्वाला सा, ज्योति के उजाला सा, आग की ज्वाला सा, ज्योति के उजाला सा, दीपा रखा है मैंने नाम तुम्हारा, जीवन के किसी संघर्ष से, दीपा बेटी तुम डर न जाना, जीवन के किसी भी संघर्ष से डर न जाना, दीपा बेटी मेरी तुम सदा एक उम्मीद का नया दिया जलाना. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We were so mesmerized listening to your story. It's so amazing. And I'm sure today some lives are going to change forever. Thank you. I'm emotional here. Too much. Okay, I leave the house open for children to ask any questions, including faculty.
I'm sorry, I became very eager. I'll give the time to you. Ma'am, no questions. I heard about Deepa ma'am in about 2014-15. Her brother was my brother-in-law's commander in Kashmir. Okay. So I had gone visiting, and her sister-in-law, her bhabhi, was sitting with me, and we became friends. And we got talking about life. It was from her bhabhi that I came to know about her. We were sitting in the mess. There was a big gathering of all the colonels and their wives, very sensitive area, and the Indian flag flying very high. And you won't believe it. The whole room, as she kept speaking and telling about her problem and how she faced everything, the whole glitter, everything faded into oblivion. It was like her bhabhi and I were sitting. And then I started noticing her everywhere, Kapil Sharma show, and so on and so forth. So her bhabhi just would not stop, and she told me about her husband being a very good, he trained you, I think.
No, I think that is a misconception
Or maybe,
news. It just went out in one of the interviews. One anchor said it, and you know how things go viral. But no, he wasn't.
Maybe I'm confusing,
yeah.
but I heard about Deepa Malik, and then I started following her. And I no questions, ma'am. I mean, when you came in, I said I know her. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I love to hear from you, young minds.
Yes.
Come here.
Come and ask if you have something.
Introduce yourself, your school, and you can pick up the mic. Because it's an interactive session, we like to take the mic.
I am Kabir Singh, a student of class 11, studying presently in Bhavan Vidyalaya, Chandigarh. My question from you. People believe that the Paralympics require more popularization, or do you believe that the lack of recognition is a result of ableism?
Okay, that's a very interesting question. I definitely believe that we need more awareness for the para sports. because it is fairly new, nascent in its age and stage in India as far as awareness is concerned. Though we won the first Paralympic medal in 1972 when Mullikant Petkarji won a medal for our country, and now you've seen the movie Chandu Champion. It's only after the movie Chandu Champion that people even came to know about him, you know. That is one thing, and at the same time, we feel that schools and parents should also guide their children to follow para sports, Paralympic sports, because there is inspiration galore. There are many more Deepa Maliks, Mullikant Petkars out there with their individual unique stories of struggle, adversity, and rising above their disability to prove an ability in a way that they give back to their country by winning medals. Because if a person with some lack in their body goes to play for the country, doesn't mean my body could be 50% or 70% functional, but we never take a 50% or a 70% part of the tricolor. Tricolor is the same. The national anthem is the same. So it would really help with every school encourages inclusive education. They encourage students with disabilities to play sports and follow Paralympic sport. They take their school to watch the para sports events that are happening, and we are very fortunate that India has started hosting international sports as well. So that is one thing that you can do. Internet and information technology gives you access to everything, so awareness will definitely help. But when you say that it has got infected by ableism, no, I am very thankful to our Prime Minister. Ever since Mr. Modi has taken the reins in his hands, we have seen that the sports has grown in India in terms of para sports. The policies are no longer different. The National Sports Act is equal for both Olympics and Paralympics. The funding programs are equal. Now the award, the cash awards, the rewards, everything is equal for para sports and the able-bodied sports. So I will not say that there is any difference in the policies anymore, but yes, awareness among humans and citizens of India, that is also on the onus of every citizen of India to celebrate every sports person with equal zeal and equal honor.
Thank you, ma'am.